Music TV.
This ought to be good. Can't wait to see what kind of mayo gets slathered throughout this article. The story goes Japanese American activists support black reparations to heal wounds past and present. It's funny they would consider that while in the mix of being complicit and anti-black propaganda. But I digress. Asian Americans Out Loud is a project highlighting Asian Americans who are leading the way forward in art and activism. 2 armed FBI agents arrived on his doorstep on December 12, 1941. And detained him without charges. He was shuttled from one Department of Justice detention center to another for the entirety of World War II and wasn't released until January 1946. Those few years of trauma guaranteed he would never really be okay again, and I believe it was the heavy weight of shame, of losing everything he'd spent his whole life working for, that killed him. Okay. I'm just waiting. I know the mayo here somewhere. But anyway, it goes on to say. That is partly why many of my family members, including Miss Yuo's last living child, my 96-year-old grandfather, have protested with Tsuru for Solidarity, an activist group led by Japanese Americans. Tsuru believes that Japanese Americans can heal the past by working in solidarity with other oppressed communities in the present. Its goal has always been for Japanese American survivors of incarceration, and their descendants, to be the allies they never had themselves. Okay, so you recognize that you ain't never done shit for us, go on. Satsuki Ina, a co-founder and co-chair of Tsuru for Solidarity, was born in 1944 in the Yule Lake Segregation Center, a maximum security prison camp in California for Japanese Americans during World War II. In 2019, she was part of a group of protesters, many of them survivors of the wartime incarceration, who hung thousands of tsuru, or origami cranes, outside a immigrant detention center in Dilley, Texas, to let the children inside know there were people who cared about what was happening to them. Man, get to it. See, this is what I'm talking about. The way they set it up. Here comes the mayo. Yet last year, after the police killing of George Floyd, a 46-year-old black man in Minneapolis, and the racial justice protests that followed, Tsuru for Solidarity realized it needed to further expand its solidarity efforts. In what Ina called a natural evolution of the group's work, Tsuru began supporting the effort to pass H.R. 40, a bill in the U.S. House to establish a commission to study the institution and legacy of slavery in the United States and recommend how to compensate the descendants of African Americans who weren't even allowed to have what my great-grandfather lost. Here they go talking about that study. This do-nothing commission to study the commission. Nah, we want it laid out just like you all got it. Matter of fact, we'll take it the same way. Just with the appropriate amounts and set-asides. Japanese American support for H.R. 40 makes sense for many reasons, among them a first-hand understanding of why reparations matter. I can only imagine how redress and a presidential apology might have helped make my great-grandfather whole again, restored his sense of dignity and self. After a hard-fought, multi-generational effort that finally gave former camp survivors permission to speak about their losses and grief, President Ronald Reagan signed the Civil Liberties Act in 1988, and my grandparents, who were imprisoned as teenagers, received the formal apology and cash payments that had eluded their parents. And we were brutalized, killed, maimed, but broken, you name it. So thanks for highlighting exactly why we need our checks. All I'm saying is, keep that same energy. You sucker MCs. Anyway. jlava.com. tzvonsavage.com. keepitppodcast.com. Love. Peace. Blessings. Miloa.
Music TV.
Church, preach, tabernacle. It's the only way we're going to get any action. Man, I want to give a shout out to 2 BBFs. Friends, you dig? Hey, they had a special shout out, you know what I mean? Somebody care about y'all, man. Want to give y'all congratulations to Jay Lava and T. Von Savage on their success on keeping it P on their podcast. where they take news situations and everyday occurrence and tell how it is and not like it was. You did? They be keeping it on the P for real. Y'all tune in to their podcast here. I'm telling T-Von Savage and Jay Level, hey man, Vicky think a lot about y'all, man. Y'all just keep doing your thing, man. Keep making it happen, man. Y'all super live, man. Y'all keep it on the P, man. I just want to send out a family congratulations from all the famous players around the world to J Level and T-Von Savage on y'all's success, man. Keep it P, man. From the P Master itself, the Bishop Don Magic Wand, chairman of the board of famous players everywhere. You dig?
Music TV.
Many ways for you to run my cash. Cut the check, 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 cut the check. Talking conversation, it's about that time.
You look savage, blood on her hair, she's so tragic. Be careful for her love, she love.
Hey Riri.
Hey Rihanna, hey girl, how you doing? I'm into you like Trump's in the Putin. I know that might sound a little confusing. I had to say it for my own amusement.
You count lava down, but you can't count them out, baby. Life give me lemons, I make lemon rain die. Moving through loopholes, working round shit. All of your misconceptions, you thought I would miss my blessings.
You get down. All I wanna do is see you move it. All I wanna do is see you get down. All I wanna do is see you move it. All I wanna do is see you get down. All I wanna do is see you play this shit.
You don't even know what I gave to this shit. Self-made with this shit, I slay with this shit. Been a lot of roads I done paved with this shit. Look, see I don't play with this shit. You don't even know what I gave to this shit. Self-made.
I'm a big dog tryna bring it back. I'ma slide in the way to bring it back. Let a nigga tap tryna bring it back. Tryna bring it back. Tryna bring it
Music TV.